Good morning, everybody. Manchester United fans, far across the globe, all wherever you are, whatever you're doing. If you're awake, you're at work, you're having lunch, you're taking a break, you know what it is. It's been a tough one. You know how we feel, guys. You know, all those better you're Ten Hag in, Ten Hag out, or Ten Hag out. It's one of those things. This season has been up and down. It's hard to be defensive with the team, but it's also not one of those things where you can have a decision where you're going to support the team because at the end of the day, we're all Manchester United fans. We all want the team to do the best and be as successful as they can be. So whether or not we have different views or the same views, it's all welcome here. Big up to those of you joining me on my channel. It's your boy MarkN MUFC fan. I have a real treat for you today. I got a guest in the background, Sal from Stretford Post. He's going to be here to give his views. Guys, I hope you come in, smash the likes. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the notification bells if you're new so you can see whenever we're live. And those of you on X, don't forget to give a retweet. Big up to all of you joining us. Let's get into the show. Big up again, guys. I'm gonna, start with the manager's press conference. Everyone's talking about, he stormed out of the presser, but I just wanted to play the press conference for those of you who didn't get a chance to see it, so you can get your own, determination of what happened in the press conference. Let's stay tuned for the Eric Ten Hag press conference, guys. The post match with the match against Bournemouth, where we drew 2-2 away from home. Let's hear what the manager has to say, guys.
Yeah. Hi, Eric.
Hi. You spoke yesterday about the importance of learning between your game in December, the challenge that you faced here today. Why do you think you were quite passive in that first half, that you maybe couldn't match the intensity that Bournemouth brought to the game?
There was some points. One thing was that Harry Maguire had an issue first half, and luck for us, he overcame, and during the game he recovered from it. And you see then the second half, he was up there, and then he can express his leadership. He can express his, of course, defending qualities and his rest on the ball, and we needed that especially in this back four. We lose then some balls in areas we shouldn't lose them, and I think, for instance, when you see the first goal, the setup was good, but in that area you should never lose a ball. But then it's still not the goal. But then over the right side defending, we had some problems in the first half, and in the half time I think we repaired it, and then we were second half Harry were better. We repaired it on the right side, and then we took more control of the game. And in the end, when we would have been more calm and composed, I think even we could have had a win. But first half, it's the truth. They were better. They created chances. But the cool thing is, we come twice. We return from losing position. So this team, the spirit is good, the resilience is good. So they show some character.
And you've seen the goal again, the Clive goal, because he's in so much space. And what was happening down that right side?
That already, and that is before that. That Solanke was dropping in, and we didn't anticipate good on that. It had something to do with organization, and that is what I point to. You need some coaching there. Then you stop at that source, and then in the second phase, it was too easy over the right side. There was a big gap, and Kluivert would never get that ball there. But if, then we have to close it. So that's clear and obvious.
Was that why Garnacho came off at half time?
I think we had to repair it over the right side. We didn't play well. The spaces were there in possession, and we had to bring a sub there. Garnacho was during the week. Also, he wasn't training, only yesterday. and we thought bring some energy and bring some more quality. So in quality in sense of cooperation, togetherness over that right side.
Hi Eric, were you angry at the players at half time? What did you say to them? Because it did seem like they were really not motivated at all in that first half.
Nah, I'm very long in football. They were very motivated, but as I explained, but then I have to repeat myself. I don't do that. They were motivated, but the organization wasn't right, and we lost balls where we shouldn't lose them. Under pressure of the opponent, but our players are better than this.
I think that's one win in 7 now, Eric. I know you've recently been saying trust the process, the plan is working. What evidence is there that process is working?
So this group players of who's available, you see our back four, and that's telling the story. But we know our demand. But that's telling absolutely the story, and especially if then one of the players is struggling, and then we couldn't change sub him as well because we are run out of centre halves.
Eric, there are 6 games to go. You're 10 points off the Champions League places. How much pressure do you feel under now? Because time is running out to reach that top 4 or 5.
We give what we can, but I am also realistic. And when the full squad was there, I still would have say high belief. But we will keep fighting also with the players who are available, and you see there is high potential, but also young players. Yeah, they make mistakes, and if they have to perform every Premier League, they proved they can compete with the best teams on the highest level. They proved, but now they have to do it consistently, and that is always the next step for young players.
So do you accept that Champions League place is beyond you now?
No, I didn't say that.
Last question at the back.
Eric, earlier in the season, you were keeping a lot of clean sheets, but struggling to score. Now, you're struggling to keep clean sheets, but you're scoring much more prolifically. What's changed?
Because we developed our attacking game, but in the attacking game we don't have problems with injuries. We have the players available in our offensive part, but in the defense, we have to catch up. But there is not, the players are not available.
Okay.
Diogo, what are your impressions?
Big up to you, Sal. Morning. My bad. I think it was my mute. My bad, guys.
It's all good.
Welcome to the channel, bro. It's a long time I haven't seen you. What are your thoughts on the manager's press conference? I know he was asked quite a few questions. Just give me a little bit of what you were thinking from hearing the answers to those questions.
Mr. Sensationalist quotes that people keep picking out, which is the Garnacho situation, the Garnacho substitution. For me, I'm not too sure about his comments on Garnacho, but the thing is, I know he has to keep everyone happy on that pitch, and at the end of the day, he has to keep Rashford happy. He's the biggest player at the club. It's not his player. I mean, if he's going to sell him in the summer, he's going to have to try and keep him happy until the summer, and that's the thing. I mean, Garnacho. I mean, with the like business, Garnacho liking tweets and stuff. We're human being at the end of the day. We got to stop looking at things like just plainly. We got to look at things from a human perspective. We're all angry, we're all fed up. We all want to win games, and we're going to pick up everything that is going to go against your narrative. That's it. I mean, the problem with Ten Hag is English is not his first language. He struggles with English. You can tell that. you know, and he says some things that might be misinterpreted. And I like to see some guys go on there and speak Dutch. It's not easy.
It's
So this is the thing with people, and they pick out certain quotes, and he doesn't mean it in a malicious way. It's exactly like the Sancho thing. Maybe, I mean, the thing is that the catch-22 is like, what's he meant to do? What's he supposed to do? I mean, he just supposed to lie on the press conference and just, Garnacho made a mistake. Garnacho has played almost every game this season. He looks tired for me. Should he have substituted him? Hindsight's a beautiful thing. We might have lost. Who knows? If Rashford came off, who knows? But it's a bit of a crazy one. I mean, it's just a press conference at the end of the day, and I can tell that he's not happy with his team. I can tell from his body language he's not happy. He wants his own players. He's trying to complement them as best as he can. If he's going to slag the players off, what productivity is that going to do for the team? What's that going to do for the team? If he slags the players off in a press conference, what's that going to do for the rest of the season? Even if he's going to sell them or not, he's going to have to, just be neutral on it, because at the end of the day, we're seeing too much of this sensationalist headlines, picking out quotes from his press conferences. He said this, he's a bald fraud, he's this, he's that. And this is where it's getting a bit crazy for me. It's more about who's right than what's good for the club. And this is what's going on in the fan base. This is what's going on in general in the football community, the ex-pros, etc. It's all about, I'm right. See, I told you. Let me quote some music from another artist and let me tell you how right I was to match my narrative. Let me do this. Let me scream on a camera. Let me shout and scream that, well, look what he said. Look what he said. For goodness sake. That man's put on a spot with 1,000 cameras in front of his face. What's he going to say? He has to get everything spot on, and he's just going to say what's on his mind, especially when English is in his first language.
It's a difficult one, and I agree with that statement, to be fair, in the sense that I'm learning Deutsch, and it's pretty difficult because I'm an English speaker. So there are some times where I say the wrong thing or I form the sentence in the wrong order, but it happens. You know what I mean? So when I look at Ten Hag in press conferences, I'm not taking his words literally in the literal sense most of the times, because I'm thinking to myself, yo, yeah, he's just using the word that he thinks is closest to what means what he's trying to say. And sometimes, I think we pay a lot of attention of the literal sense, because even if he says we need to improve the right side, it doesn't mean that Garnacho is not a good player. He never said Garnacho is not a good player. And the funny thing is, it's like, when you look at the performance of Garnacho throughout the season, he's been playing game after game, and he's been one of our most dangerous wingers going forward. So I could understand the frustration of the fan base in seeing him substituted and them being frustrated by his comments. At the same time, I don't really think that he meant anything negative towards Garnacho. He just thought maybe, he's probably tired. He's not having a good game. I didn't think he was having a good game. I thought from the first touch he looked off. His touches were super heavy. So the ball was always getting away from him. So maybe give him a rest. I also really didn't agree with the fact that he started Rashford. I think maybe he should have started Anthony and Garnacho. But at the same time, realistically, how many managers have started Rashford consistently throughout their tenure? You know what I mean? All of them so far. It's one of those things where I look at it and I'm like, what can you really do or say other than consider the fact that it's possible that he has no choice but to start Rashford? Some of these senior players, of course, they may not be performing really well, but at the same time, I look at them as seniors. And if you want to get them moved on, you have to give them some game time. Else you're going to cut their transfer fee in half. You know what I mean? You're already doing yourself a disservice. So in one way, I would like him to change stuff sometimes and get the results. But in another hand, I'm kind of supportive of him not changing stuff to suit the players again. this season and forcing the players to play his style the way he wants to play, because I feel that's the only way the recruitment is going to know which players exactly needs to be moved on and what type of profile player needs to come in to fit the system.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I mean, touching on the Rashford price tag thing, I mean that's spot on, because at the end of the day, if he starts benching Rashford, he's one of the most valuable players at the club. You know, it's just going to reduce his value, and obviously Ineos, money rules the world, so they're gonna want value for Marcus Rashford if they do sell him. Of course, I mean, uh, I think the relationship between United and Rashford has come to an end. To be honest with you, I think players need to move on sometimes, and not that I don't rate him. I just feel like there's too much drama at the moment with Rashford. There's far too much drama, and I feel like he I don't think he gives his all. I don't. I mean, I've been watching United near enough 40 years. I mean, I had a season ticket as well, and you know, I used to see players going off the pitch dripping with sweat. You know, I don't see that with a lot of these players, not just Rashford. I don't see that with a lot of these players. I don't think we're putting in maximum effort. I feel like I watched a quote from Michael Ballack today, and he said, ex-German player, he said that players are rich far too soon, so they don't have the motivation to fight. You know, I mean, I've always been an advocate for performance-based salary. I think we should implement that into the game, because when you're rich, why are you going to break your leg in the challenge? You know, why are you going to try? Oh, who cares? You know, it's football. That's it. That's all they care about. You know, that's how they think. You know, go on TV, do a little PR statement saying how much you care about the club. I'm not saying Rashford doesn't care about the club. I feel like Ten Hag has shown enormous trust in Rashford, especially after the Belfast incident. When he played him the next Thursday after the Belfast incident, he played him. And I felt that that was a huge sign of trust from Ten Hag. And, you know, I don't think certain players are showing the same amount of effort in their support of Ten Hag as Ten Hag has shown support in them. And that's just how I see it. I mean, it's not only Rashford. I know picking on Rashford, there's a lot of players there. There's players who put in maximum effort, like Bruno. Bruno puts in 100% effort, you know, but I don't think he's he plays like a, you know, we're playing like a lower league team at the moment. You know, we're fighting. You know, we're playing like it's an FA Cup tie and we're playing a bigger team. Every team we play. And I just feel like that's because the players don't suit the system, and we need players to suit the system. You know, you look at Leverkusen, you look at Alonso, you look at how he's purchased players and to fit his system. You know, and we need more players to fit our system. We still got 8, 9, 10 players from past managers, past eras, and we need to get rid of a few of those players respectfully. I'm even talking about the Luke Shaws of this world. I rate Luke Shaw, but I just feel like he's injured too much. We need players. We need a new team, and we need a new environment completely. And that starts from the players with me. I feel like we've done the same mistake far too many times. It's insanity. And fans who don't see this, fans on other fan channels, on other entities, they can't see the mitigating circumstances, what's going on with the team, what Ten Hag has had to deal with this season. Ten Hag has had to deal with assaults, you know, allegations of sexual assaults on 2 of his players. You know, no other managers had to deal with that. You know, he's had to deal with Sancho tweeting about him. No other manager has had to deal with that. You know, he's had to deal with the Rashford situation, the takeover situation, the injury loss, 60 injuries. I mean, it's unprecedented how many injuries we've had. And the man still has us in 6th, 7th place and on the verge of an FA Cup final. I mean, people need to be realistic here. They need to be realistic. They need to give Ten Hag the funds and the structure this summer to do his thing, to have the ability and the authority to get rid of players and bring in players. And then we can judge Ten Hag. Because at the moment, I don't think I can judge Ten Hag this season. I think it's been an absolute shambles, to be honest.
100%. And like yesterday, I did a stream where I played over the Ralph Ragnick, little press conference address where he spoke about, open heart surgery. We need to get 10 players in, 10 players out, not just because players need to go, but some players who contracts are ending and some players who just don't suit the system. Then, the club, since we have a new manager, it looks like they've been identifying the right members for a structure that should improve on what we can do in the back room. And they now need to decide, are we going to continue playing this attacking style of football? And if we're going to do this, we need to bring in players that suit this system. Not only that, but we need to recruit players that suit the way the manager wants to play this system. You know what I mean? And I feel like, yeah, we have one or two players that the manager has that knows the way he wants to play the system. So now we can bring in some profile players. If you look at the current team, there are at least 3 players that are guaranteed leaving at the end of the summer. Let's add probably 2 more, and I'll say them out. Like Amrabat, his loan is coming to an end. I don't think they're renewing that. Anthony Martial, his contract has come to an end. He's going to be gone for free. Probably Ericsson is going to be leaving as well. And then there's going to be probably a Jadon Sancho and maybe a Mason Greenwood. Those 2 might also be leaving the club, as well as Donny van der Beek. And that's already 6 players, right? And we're not even talking about other players in the first team that might need to leave. So we might as well, buckle in, settle down with this manager for 1 more season and get these players out the door, and probably get 5 or 6 players to come in to replace them and supplement the balance with the young players breaking through. Yesterday, before on Saturday when we had the game, young Ethan Wheatley, striker, he was on the bench having that experience. And for me, he was one of the breakout players this season. I've been talking about it ever since I saw him the first game. He has this way he plays reminds me of that. Remember we had this striker one time. I think we got him from Leeds. I think his name was Alan Smith.
Yeah.
He reminds me of that guy, bro. And I'm like, this guy could be something. And I'm like, Hoyland needs backup. We also probably need to get an experienced striker. So maybe, the possibility of some of these youth breaking through. I know Jack Kingdom was also in the training squad as well. He probably made the bench, but I'm not too sure if it was him or Ogunnayi. But we have a lot of young players coming through to the team right now, and I feel like this is the progression that we need to take. We don't need to stop this, because a new manager coming in stops this entire progression, because he might not like these young players. He might want another type of player coming in. What are we going to do with all these youngsters coming through? Would he still bring through Kobe Mainu? Would he still use Garnacho? Even Kwambala, he played, yes, on Saturday he did have a mistake that led to a goal, but the way he recovered and, kept his head up for the rest of the game, I think that was very impressive for a youngster. His second start of the season, he's probably going to have more. And I think he's going to probably nail himself into a consideration of the manager to start going through next season. So I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are upset, and it's one of those things where you can't fault them having the way they be feeling the way they feel, but at the same time, there's been a lot of context, a lot of situation that the manager really had to deal with. I don't think any other manager in the league would have had a better outcome. Sure, he made some mistakes. He's not without reproach, but I think the players, are biggest in terms of fault, when not all of them every single game, but some of them in different games didn't come up 100%. They didn't show that they wanted to be here. They didn't come out to play for the badge. And I feel basic effort is something we need to have as a standard week in, week out from the players, because without basic effort, tactics don't work.
Spot on. In regards to the youth thing, I mean, I've been speaking to some people on Twitter, and they're taking it away from Ten Hag, saying, "Oh, he would have played them anyway. They're coming through anyway. It's not Ten Hag's fault. It's not Ten Hag. They're talented anyway. They would have played anyway." And it's getting ridiculous now. It's like I don't know what it is mentally. I don't know what's wrong with them. I mean, there's a huge hatred there. It's like really bitter. So Sir Alex Ferguson sold Andre Kanchelskis and Mark Hughes. It's only because he sold Andre Kanchelskis and Mark Hughes that Beckham and Gary Neville, and Philip Neville and all these players came through. Paul Scholes came through. It's only because he sold those players they came through. You can use as an excuse for every single thing. He still had the courage to play those players. You have to have courage to play those players. You have to know. You have to have your ear to the ground. Amas, for example, he was on the bench as well. And you have to have your ear to the ground. Who's the next to come through? Who's good? Who's not? And I believe he is. And I believe we'll be taking a huge step back if we got rid of Ten Hag. A huge step back. People are just not patient these days. They just want a new shiny toy. And who knows? We might get a manager like Jose Mourinho who doesn't believe in youth. And he doesn't want to bring youth players through. They just want instant success, and that's it. And also, if we do get rid of Ten Hag, people better be careful what they wish for, because I think it's going to be Southgate or Potter. And there's your new contract for Rashford, new contract for Maguire. It's going to happen. So these people need to just calm down a little bit. Just let it progress. Watch Ten Hag next season. If it goes pear-shaped, then yeah, you can say, well, we got to get rid of him now, etc. But taking away the praise from a manager who's brought through youngsters like Mainu, Garnacho, Kambwala, Amas is coming through, Shai Lise, what's his name? Shai Lise, yeah, is coming through as well. This guy, he's the only manager I've seen in the last 10 years who's sticking to the Manchester United philosophy.
100%.
And that's my opinion. And if we take that away, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. This reminds me of Sir Alex Ferguson all those years ago when people were calling for his head, and he managed to change it. Football's different now. There wasn't as much competition back then. So Sir Alex Ferguson could, build a side, and he did get kind of successful with the Cup Winners' Cup and the FA Cup, etc. But football's more difficult now in regards to money, because Man City obviously got all the money, and Newcastle got all the money now. So it's going to be more difficult for Ten Hag. But we have to be patient. We have to stop going online and screaming and insulting the manager, calling him names, etc. It's not classy from us. It's not what we're about as Manchester United fans.
100%.
We support our own, we support our club, we support our manager. I bet you, if you rewind the clock, a lot of these people are screaming Ten Hag out. When Bobby Charlton, God rest his soul, passed away, they didn't mention his name once. And this is the whole thing. This is why they don't really care or love about Man United. They just want to go viral, and that's it, in my opinion.
100%, man. And my buddy Charles is coming in. I know for sure he's a Ten Hag outer, but that's his opinion. And he's like, the manager doesn't need to stay to get rid of players. It's the board that handles the buying and selling. And I would say to that, bro, if you look at the last decade, how did that go? You know what I mean? The board didn't really buy anyone properly. They didn't really sell anyone good. And, if you look at it, it's not just, look at what Ralph Rangnick said. Beyond City and Liverpool, he's saying two of the best managers in the world. Every other top team shuffles managers. Stop trying to force a new Fergie narrative. I mean, the only reason Pep is one of the best managers in the world is because he got time to be a best manager. He had 7 years at Bayern. He's on 9 years now at City, or 8, something like that. Klopp is in his 10th season at Liverpool right now. So regardless of what you're saying, bro, success needs some continuity. And if you're using those two as an example, you clearly can see that their first 2 seasons, they didn't finish anywhere near 4th. And in the second season, one didn't finish in the top 4 and the other one did. But, progression is not always linear. And I feel like a lot of guys are, thinking about it in a negative perspective, because at the same time, whether it's a new board or it's a good board, you have exactly no way to say that they're going to be successful, because Barada is good at City, Ashworth is good at Newcastle, Jason Wilcox is good at Southampton. When they come together, it's not going to immediately work perfectly. They're going to have to get to know each other a little bit, learn to work with each other. It's going to be a process, guys. We're in a process of a rebuild. And I feel a lot of fans forget that we're in a rebuild. because they're like, after we came third and we played in 2 cup finals last season with the same squad that everyone wanted to get rid of in the season after the season finished before, now they believe this squad is much better than they actually are again. And this is a crazy point for me because this manager gave you that feeling. He brought this squad back into your good graces with their performances last season, and now he's playing the way he wants to play. It's only normal for players who are actually adapting to the style, who can do it, are doing it, and the players who can't are not having a good game. And that is honestly because it's not supposed to be set to make the team the players. It's not about the players in this current squad. It's about the team going forward. You know what I mean? Ollie never won nothing, bro. So you can say Ollie gave more, but that's only vibes, man. He never won anything. He didn't win a Carabao. He didn't win a FA Cup. He didn't win nothing. So if you could argue, I'm not here to argue that. If you prefer Ollie, that's fine. But in my honest opinion, I'm looking at this squad and I'm looking at it from the perspective that, we have seen these players, not been given reason to be sold. And this is the biggest thing for me. I feel like the executive board needs reasons to sell these players, right? And the only way you can give them a reason is to highlight their deficiencies by making them play the style of football you want to play, whether they can do it or not. But if you customize it to them to make them look good, then what is the board gonna say at the end of the season when you finish another top four when you want to sell these players? They're gonna be like, why are we gonna sell these players? These players are performing well. You know what I mean? This is the problem. And I feel a lot of fans need to take a step back and pause because, even if we sack this manager, right, that does not denote that we're gonna improve, right? It doesn't even denote that we're going to sell or have a clear out this season because a new manager coming in is going to want to work with the squad before he makes a decision on what he adds to this squad. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't know about Ineos. I know they have Nice and all, but Nice ain't doing all that great, and I really don't trust them 100%. And I know they're not going to get Xavi Alonso. I know they're not going to get Xavi. I know they're not going to get Amorim because all these managers are staying at the clubs that they're currently at for at least another season. So my honest opinion to guys is unless you want Southgate or you want Graham Potter, who we've known fails. We've seen it last season and we've seen it over the last few years. Southgate has failed massively with a talented squad that he is one of the best, in my opinion, in world football, and he can't win anything. In fact, it looks like he makes them worse than they actually are. So I'm just taking a step back and saying, you know what? It's not been a great season, but at the end of the day, I'm looking at it like we're in a rebuild. There's so many things that happened this season that took away from the continuity of the rebuild and clearing players out again in the transfer windows in the summer and the winter. So now we have to hold it and deal with the fact that it's taking longer than we anticipated. So maybe if this manager stays, we get 5 to 8 players leave the club. Maybe if he goes, it might only be 4. And this is the reality that people have to look at because you can say the club does this and the club does that, but in the last decade, the club has done nothing of the sort. So it's just one of those things for me.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely, definitely. But the thing is, I think Ten Hag is a victim of his own success in the first season. I think if he had this season, last season, and he had, this season, well, last season, this season, it'd be a little bit like people say, oh, look, he's progressing, blah, blah, blah. But football doesn't work like that. Football is unpredictable, and injuries do play a part, actually. People say, oh, every team has injuries. Every team has injuries. I remember 1998, right? We lost Roy Keane, right? We lost the league title because we lost Roy Keane. I remember 95, 96, 99, 94, 95 when we lost Cantona. We lost the league because we lost Cantona. One player. One player. Arsenal lost the league when they lost because they lost Saliba last season. You know, we've lost our whole back four, right? We're playing right backs on left backs on right backs, square pegs in round holes, you know, and we're expecting Ten Hag to play this beautiful tiki-taka football. It's crazy. Then we might as well get Leyton Orient to come and play tiki-taka football then. Because at the end of the day, any team can play tiki-taka football if they got a good manager. Pep Guardiola couldn't manage in League Two. He couldn't play his football in League Two because he doesn't have the players. And if you got injuries to your best players, the same effect happens. You know, it's like some of these fans are not listening. They're not watching. They're not paying attention to what's going on. When Ole came in, we had that Ole bounce, that bounce where we won all those games. You know, we were winning every game 1-0. I remember we beat Spurs 1-0 at Wembley. Marcus Rashford, everyone playing well. Same thing happened with Jose. Same thing, and it's sort of deja vu. It's kind of like a deja vu going on right now. It's the same things going on. It's like when Ole lost 4-0 to Everton in April. It's like this sort of period. They start to drop. The teams start to drop. They start to lower their performances. They did it slightly last season. You know, they did it slightly last season. End. Yeah, they started to drop. And this April period, they seem to be like April Fool's Day. They start, you know, dropping and thinking about the summer. You know, and people need to start looking at these players. Maybe these players are not good enough. And when we have injuries, 50, 60 injuries, we have to bring in these players. And these players are the type of players who hold grudges, it seems. So they're going to come in, they're not going to give their 100%, or they're just going to, you know, give in the minimum to get by, you know. And this is what I don't understand about the fan base. They're not looking at this. They're not looking at, you know what, Ten Hag has shown some good signs. He's bringing through youth. If we invest in Ten Hag, imagine what he can do. Imagine if he got rid of his players and brought his own players in. Imagine what he can do. You know, and God forbid, if we get Southgate, you might as well write it off. Write it off. I'm in England.
Right off
I'm
a
English.
decade.
I'm English. I mean, this guy, right? This guy. Oh my God. I mean, you're playing Italy. My wife is Italian, right? This is one of the worst Italian sides in history, right? And it's proven because they haven't qualified for any other tournaments since they beat England, right? England were at home. They took the lead and still managed to screw it up. That game, if it was a Pep, if it was a Klopp, England winning 4-5-0.
100%.
Easy. And that's the difference between a good manager and a rubbish manager. If you want Southgate and you want to play your Southgate ball, he better be winning a League Cup and coming third in his first season. Because if he comes any lower than that, you know, we're going to bring out the book on you. We're going to bring out, you know, we got receipts for all these things you've been saying. You know, so my opinion is back the manager this time. Do something different. Stop this insanity. Stop sacking manager business. It's what we never thought we would be. We never thought we would be a sacking team. You know, we never thought we'd be sacking managers left row, being a Chelsea, for example. And that's why we were so successful under Alex Ferguson. Because, you know, through adversity, we stuck by him and we kept going and we built. Imagine the impact it would be if Ten Hag got a new contract today. Imagine the impact on the players. Oh, we can't mess about now. You know, he's got a new contract now. We can't mess about. You know, they're trusting in the manager. This Ineos need to get up and they need to start doing their job. Because all I'm seeing is PR and mouthpieces and noise. That's all I'm seeing. They need to go to Carrington and say, listen, you know, if you don't pick up your weight, you're out. Simple as that. You're out. If you don't play for this manager, you're out. That's what Ineos need to do. Stop all this talk. Stop, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. Nice ain't done nothing. You know, Nice ain't done nothing since they took charge. They better, if I see Southgate, because at the moment it's no smoke without fire. I see Southgate mentioned. I see Potter mentioned. You know, if I don't see some of those players at United leave a statement sell, they need one or two statement sells. For example, a Rashford or McTominay or someone like that. They need someone like that, a couple of players like to leave for us to be like, well, they mean business. You know, because at the moment, I'm seeing a Glazer mouthpiece, like the Muppeteers with a Glazer. You know, I'm seeing a mouthpiece. That's all I'm seeing. unfortunately.
Big up Sal, big up Sal. GB is saying he doesn't know your name, but you speak sense. Very insightful. Thank you. Big up to you, GB, coming in. That's Sal from
Respect.
Stretford Post. It's a pleasure to have him on the stream today with me. It's one of those things where I feel like a lot of fans are caught up in this hypothetical theory of what it should be and how it should be, right? Because it's something like like FIFA. I think FIFA corrupted a lot of fans, especially the younger fans now, because they suddenly think that any player, once they're good, they could play any system. And any player that comes into a team immediately, they're supposed to be successful. They're supposed to play well. But, it does not work like that. You know what I mean? Teams take time. Like, imagine Man United has not played an attacking style of football with progressive and
10
possession
years.
base for 10 years, right? And in one season, we're implementing this style. Last season, he didn't really do that. He changed a few things, but he kept it pretty much the same because he wanted to get results, get the team back into Champions League, so he could probably build a budget for himself this summer that was passed. But now, he's implementing his style of play, and the patterns of play are different from what they're used to. And a lot of these players aren't catching up. They're having a hard time. Some of them are doing okay, some are doing better, but some are failing. And I hear a lot of fans, including my buddy, the reckless one, Charles. He's always saying that the manager should change the setup to get the best out of these players. And I will say it again, I don't agree with that. If you change the setup to suit these players, it keeps them here another season. Now, and also, from what I have experienced with Manchester United, you have to give. I will say it again. You have to give a reason for these players to be sold. And the only reason is because they're not good enough. They can't play the way you want to play. And this is why I'm backing the manager, and I'm saying, listen, I'm going to have some patience. If we finish 6th, 5th, I'm holding that one. You know what I mean? I still hope we could get to the FA Cup final and probably face the juggernaut and win. But if it doesn't happen, smalls, right? There's next season. I want to see some statement outs. I want to see a lot of outgoings, maybe 5 other than the ones that I spoke about that are guaranteed to leave or almost likely to leave. And let's see some players come in. Let's see the squad change over. Let's have a new squad that's going to, fit the system, the style of play, players profile for profile. Like if Martinez is injured, we have another left-footed left back that's going to come on and take his position. You know what I mean? So this is just how I'm looking at it right now. And that's just all I have to say for now.
Yeah, I mean, people don't understand that if we do sack Ten Hag, it derails our summer. And it's going to cost us a lot of money to get rid of Ten Hag and bring someone else in. Nagelsmann is going to Bayern, which was the only one I thought could, do okay for us. I mean, I don't know. He's managed Bayern before, hasn't he? So, I mean, the only one is Amorim. As you said, he's not coming. He's staying. Hansi Flick, these guys don't know nothing about our club. This is the thing. People coming into our club not knowing anything about the youth system, what's going on, etc. I just don't understand what these people want. They want magic. We're not going to spend 500 million on players, and this is the thing. We ain't got no money, and we need to trust in our youth. We have to believe in our youth, and that's what Ten Hag is doing. I've been a fan a long, long time. I've seen things come. I've seen things go. I've been there when we haven't won trophies for a league for 26 years. I've been there. And I know the frustration. I know it's annoying. And I've made mistakes myself. I hold my hand up. When Ole was in charge, I was too. Ole isn't the man. He's not good enough. But you learn from your mistakes. And I promised myself I'm not going to turn against this manager. If these players down tool, I'm blaming the players. I'm not blaming the manager anymore. Because at the end of the day, you need to look at the facts, what are presented to you. 4 or 5 managers have gone now. Same players are down tooling. You got to look at this, and the same period in time as well. Even Ole, they down tooled on Ole. What they did to Ole was out of order. Ragnick, is a smart man. Look what he's doing at Austria, you know. So Ragnick is a smart man. So he's he said it how it was, and the Glazers just didn't want to hear it. They didn't want to hear it. They didn't want to hear the truth. Now the fans are doing what the Glazers want you to do. Some of the fans. You're falling into the trap of, let's get another manager. It's the manager. It's the manager. That buys the Glazers more time. That buys Ineos more time. We got a new manager. We've got to give him 2 or 3 years. Whereas, if they trust in Ten Hag and he doesn't do well next season, people are going to question Ineos. But what they don't understand, they're going to question Ineos anyway. So people just got to say, look, we've had enough of this. These players, these crybabies on Twitter, etc. They need to say the manager, back the manager, and we go from there. At the end of the day, we haven't got the players. We haven't. People keep saying our squad costs this much money. Our squad, Bournemouth squad costs this much money. Blah blah blah. But they have players who play in their correct positions and play with each other all season, right? Plus, we're Manchester United. It's a different animal. It's a different animal. There's different pressures. You bring in a Bournemouth manager. What's the Bournemouth manager's name? If you bring him to Old Trafford, if you bring him to Old Trafford, he's not gonna pull up any trumps, mate. He's not, because at the end of the day, it's Manchester United. It's a different pressure. The history behind Manchester United, the demand for success. Bournemouth are playing in comfort. Man United were playing with stress. And you can tell it. Yeah, and you could tell on the pitch, they're playing with a little bit of anxiety, saying, goodness me, if we lose this, my goodness, I'm going to be questioned, blah, blah, blah. And as you said, Mark, you can't just expect players to come in and be world beaters. You can't. We might as well get Gary Pallister to play up front then, back in the day. Because then he can score 30 goals, can't he?
Exactly.
If the player's not good enough, you might as well get a League One or League Two player. If a player's not good enough, he's not good enough for the Premier League. At the end of the day, we don't know how good these players are really. When you think about it, the players have been there a long time. Football's evolved. Football's moved on. I think Rashford has lost a yard of pace.
I think
that's hampered him. I think that's hampered him enormously. I think he's lost that. And I think that was one of his main assets, which was his pace. Garnacho's 19. Mainu, was he 19, 18, 19? Cambuala, was he 19?
19.
Goodness me. Come on. You're thinking, they're acting like we just lost 5-0 to Bournemouth.
Fact.
Bournemouth are a decent outfit, by the way. Look at their results. It's the same with Luton when we beat Luton by 1 goal and then people are complaining and then Man City beat them by 1 goal. It's just crazy. It's crazy. We held Man City all the way up to the 70th, 80th minute. That was tactics. And at the end of the day, we haven't got the quality to pull through. We haven't got it, unfortunately. We need a clear out. If we can have a clear out this summer, if 1 or 2 of those mainstays can go, then we can start believing, and then we can say, look, now Ten Hag has got his chance to build his team. At the end of the, and people think it's going to be a magic wand. When Ten Hag took over, we all agreed it was going to take 3 to 5 years. We all agreed. We said, look, this is no quick fix. Ten Hag took over the worst United side, in my opinion, in history. And he brought us to the Champions League, and he won us a trophy. And he should have won the Europa League, and he should have won the FA Cup. Again, that goes down to quality, squad, depth. We just run out of steam at the end of the day. We ran out of steam, got injuries, and we couldn't compete at the end of the day in the final. But we still, we lost 1-0. But another day we'd have won. So if Ten Hag this season wins the FA Cup, gets in the Europa League, what else do you want with the endless injuries and etc.? I'm not going to say it again because I seem like a broken record saying it every single time, and responding to people every single time. It's like people don't want to hear it. They just want their opinion. That's it. They just want you to agree with their opinion. At the end of the day, I understand Ten Hag outers. I understand their situation. I understand that they're upset. But let me tell you, from a fan right? A fan who understands United, yeah, and I understand. I've seen that for Sir Alex. I've seen him struggle. I've seen him under pressure. From a fan point of view, right? Not a fan from 2010, a fan from a long time ago. Forget the noise. We're Manchester United. We concentrate on us. You know, the Premier League is what it is because of us. We're going to build a new dynasty. We're going to build a new dynasty under Ten Hag. You know, Nagelsmann comes in, a Southgate comes in, we're going back to 1974. Trust me, we're going back to 1974. We're going to get relegated. Believe that if Southgate comes in. Because this guy, mates rates, friendship club, all hugs and kisses, whatever it is, you know, can't even get a team with Bellingham and etc. to play a decent rhythm of football. You know, it's scary times for us at the moment. And the thing is, the fans are just pointing towards the wrong thing. I want to see more energy towards Ineos. I want to see more energy towards them rather than Ten Hag. I want people
100%.
to call out Ineos and say, what you doing there? What you doing? You come in, you make a little interview for PR, you know, talking about how you're going to be successful, how you're going to do this, how you're going to do that. Do it then. Don't talk about it, do it. I ain't seen Berardo. Where's Ashford? Where is he? You know, what's going on? Because at the end of the day, it's all talk at the moment. I haven't seen nothing. All I want is success on the pitch. And that's it. I don't care about corporate people talking. I want success on the pitch for Manchester United, the working class, Manchester United, to have success on the pitch. Not for these corporate people to run their mouth talking about they know what Manchester United is. Because if they appoint Southgate, they are not United fans. And that's the
100%.
truth. 100%.
Big up to you, Sal. Thank you so much for joining me today, my bro. You know, I'm doing another stream on Wednesday. If you have the time, pop in. You know, just drop me your email on inbox and on X so I could, you know, send you an invite link. So you don't need to get an invite. You could just pop in whenever you like. All right. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thanks for having me, Mark. Thanks, man.
Yeah, anytime, man. Anytime. And I just wanted to tell you guys, thank you for joining us. I hope you guys had a little bit of insight as from the different sides. You know, we're not saying don't be Ten Hag out. We're not saying don't feel that way. But we're saying, you know, you look at it a little bit more holistically. You know, there's been a lot that took away from us having the season that we could have had. Not just injuries, but, you know, the sagas, the takeover, as well as some players doing crazy stuff, you know, disrespecting the manager and stuff like that, going on strike. All these things happen in one season, the manager's second season. And I would highlight that some of the players that had these sagas are players that could have been game changers and match winners. When they should have been focusing on football, other things happened. But you know what? This is where we are right now. We could be better, for sure. That's for sure. We could be in a better position. But sometimes it's not just easy like that. And the manager is going to need some time because his first season was third, 2 cup finals. His second season is probably going to be fifth and a cup final. So I don't think that's bad. You know, some people might say it's not progression, but I would say it's still a good job based on what happened this season with injuries and stuff like that, and the takeover most importantly. But, you know, it is what it is, guys. You know, I think just like Mental is saying, I think the majority of fans don't want Ten Hag out. They're just frustrated with the results and Ten Hag's inability to solve issues. But then again, you know, that one is perspective and it's not really, it's more subjective than objective because some people want Ten Hag to change things to suit the players. I don't think that's what a manager should be doing. I think the players should be the ones to adapt to suit the system that the manager and the club wants to play and not the other way around. But big up to you guys. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to smash the likes on your way out. Thank you to Sal. Don't forget to go out to Twitter and check out Stretford Post. Give him a like and a retweet. Check him out. He's got some really good ideas on how he presents his topics and what his arguments are. Check him out on X, guys. Thank you, Sal, again. Guys, I hope you have a great day. It's been your boy, MarkN, MUFC Fan, and this has been your daily update. You know, panel debate, Ten Hag in. It's the fallout. But you know what? Some people are Ten Hag'd out. It is what it is, guys. Catch you guys later.